Hey guys, this is LikeABossGamingHD with my first review that I've really ever done on this channel, or any channel for really, and it's going to be a Bioshock Infinite. Bring us the girl and wipe away the debt. Probably the most important quote in this entire game, though you wouldn't know it when you first hear it. You know, the game sounds simple enough. You have to go to this magical floating city and rescue this girl and wipe away your entire debt to these people. Though it's much more complex when you get into the actual world. I want to say that this review is going to be as spoiler-free as possible. I probably am going to have a reactions reactions video where I have a bunch of my friends on talking about the game itself and what their opinions are of it. But for now, this is going to be as spoiler-free as possible. Now, I understand this isn't the most professional viewing experience you could ever have, but it's going to have to work for right now. But anyway, back to Bioshock. This game, when you first look at it, is a technological marvel. It's a new thing in this game. It could be a revolution of media. Now, that's what all the other critics are saying, and I don't want to conform to all of them. But I really can't disagree. I've only seen one actually, not fully negative, but one review that actually even shows any form of negativity. That's the Angry Joe Show's review. I normally agree with him on most of my reviews. I base my reviews off him, even though they aren't on YouTube. Like, when I review a game, I like doing it in the mindset he probably would. Although not so in this game. I could have done this review last night when I actually completed the game, but I felt I should sit on it overnight, you know, feel how I felt about the game. And this game is just, it's different. It's perfect. It's I don't know. It's new. I guess I just can't experience it. But I'm just going to break it down in simple terms. I'm going to start out with probably the most key thing in the game, the entire storyline. I think the storyline beats out sometimes the weak gameplay that you may experience from the game. It's not weak, but it's not up to par with some of the best games out there. But the story holds that together and brings new aspects to it. You have the storyline, you are Booker DeWitt, you have to go to the magical flying city, rescue the girl or whatever, and return her and wipe away the debt. Bring us the girl, wipe away the debt. Again, a simple quote, you hear it throughout the entire game, and it brings a whole new meaning at the end of the game. Now, while I'm on the topic of the ending of this game is spot on. It is just perfect. I don't think an ending for a game has been this perfect since, I don't know, I don't even know. I think this is one of the biggest endings. Like, I'm someone, I normally play a storyline-driven game for a while, but I've never really completed it. I never completed the first two Bioshocks, though I played them both. But this game wanted me to go to the ending. I knew the ending would be great, so I had such high expectations, because I heard people say it was going to be great, and they just hit it right on the head of the nail. It was perfect. It was a conclusion. It answered my questions. It left me thinking new questions that the game didn't need to answer, that I just had to think about to come up with an answer. It was beautiful. It was crazy. The whole storyline, it's something I can't really give away without spoiler, but please go buy the game right now and just follow the story. It's definitely worth it. It's what holds this game together, and the ending is really what's giving it these 100s out of 100s, 10s out of 10s, maybe a 9 out of 10, and, you know, God forbid an 8 out of 10, but, you know. Now, I'm going to look at some of the negatives, but I think the ones I've heard are minute, if anything. Like, some say the combat is repetitive. There's one point where you battle the same boss 3 times that Angry Joe brings up. But I feel like each time I'm still wanting to do more. Like, I'm still wanting to fight it because I want to get to this next part in the game, and I need to learn this. And there's an interesting story along with it, too. So, really, what the combat fails in, it's fixed in the storyline, so you don't have to worry about that. But probably the most marvelous technological advancement in this game, and some people are going to discount this, say, oh, it's not that different, is Elizabeth. Elizabeth is amazing in this game. It brings companion AI to a whole new level. I've never experienced a companion this great. I've seen games crash and burn and fail when they're trying to do a companion AI. Skyrim was eh. You have other games, though, like, I don't even know them off the top of my head, because they just seem to fail a lot. The companion gets in the way, or they get themselves killed, or they do something dumb. They barely help you. But Elizabeth is so helpful for the first thing. Like during combat, she'll be scavenging she'll be scavenging ammo or different salts, which is a whole new thing. Salts and vigors are like, you saw them in the first couple Bioshocks. I can't think of what they're called. Plasmids. That's what they were. Plasmids was what it was in the first two Bioshocks. It's just pretty much a copy-paste of that here with salts and vigors. But it is interesting. Every time you find a new vigor, your hand lights up. Like if you drink a fire one called Devil's Kiss, your hand burns up, and it's interesting to see. It's very, very well done, and they're actually quite useful in combat. Like there's ones where you can send flying crows or push people, create shields, take in charge of enemies, cause them to beat themselves on the head until they die. It's entertaining. It's fun to watch. But yeah, going back to Elizabeth, I'm sorry, I get off track a little bit, but Elizabeth is she's just spot on. Sometimes when I'm playing the game and some big event happens, I quickly look over to Elizabeth to see what her reaction is. And you find more and more about her as the game goes on, especially at the game's ending. So it's interesting. This game it makes you think, and so it's hard to separate this game into multiple things because it's so different. The end changes the whole game for the better too. It's not like the ending ruins the game. It brings it all together and brings it to a whole new level. So yeah, if you haven't completed the game, just please, I'm okay. You can close the review. You can do it right now. You can click the X up here, and whatever, or maybe it's up here because it might be flipped. But whatever, just do that and just finish the game right now. Homework, who cares? Just tell your teacher I played Bioshock Infinite. It's the best game ever. Just tell them that. They'll be like, oh, it's alright. It's okay. You can do it. You turn it in the next day. Please, just go finish the game right now. It's an excellent game, and the ending wraps it all together. Now, this whole environment, it's different. Like, the level of immersiveness, it's unmatched for me. Like, probably the most immersive games I've ever played are the Bethesda games, Elder Scrolls and Fallout. I just think this beats that. And it's crazy because it's not a free roam game. And there's no like dynamic choices you have to make in this game. Pretty much all the choices you make are just opinions, and they don't matter at all. They don't have any like grand consequences or anything. The storyline goes the same. So if you like a game with choices, maybe it's not for you. But the game is so good, I recommend it to anybody, whether you like Bioshock, whether you like shooters, whether you like puzzle games, whether you like RPGs. It's got elements for everything and blend it all together. It doesn't have any free roam, but there's levels of free roam. Like, you can explore the city at your own pace at parts. There's not parts where you're feeling rushed, like, oh, I need to go. There are parts of that, actually, I should say, but it's not a constant. It's not something you need to constantly worry like, oh, I gotta get here in 5 minutes or else I'm gonna die. No, you can explore, and there's some rewards, but usually it ends up just being gear or like shield or whatever upgrades to your health, shield, or keep wanting to call them plasmids now, but they're vigors. Just upgrades to that, and the gear, you get really good gear right away. You can get things where your skyhook, which is your melee weapon, you can punch people and it shocks them, and shocks them to death. That is very useful. I found myself using the skyhook a lot in this game. And another thing, another thing that brings like dynamic, like something to the combat is the sky lines in the whole game and the skyhook. You can see a skyline or a sky freight hook and just zoom onto it and blast your way through while you're hanging from the skyhook, swinging, getting to new obstacle points. Elizabeth can open up tears in the world, like different realities, to try to bring more ammo or more hooks or a turret even. It's really, the combat is unlimited, and some people do say it is limited in points, but it may not be the most complex, but I feel like there's enough elements there to keep you doing different things, as long as you're not someone who gets in the bad habit of doing the same thing every time, which I did find myself doing a couple times, mainly because there's another thing is, you can only carry 2 weapons at a time, which I get is realistic, but I felt it would be better if you could have more guns, collect them, because you end up finding yourself 2 guns, the 2 best guns in the game, which vary. I had, it was like a scatter shot or like a burst gun. It was called a burst gun, and then the machine gun. Sometimes I carried around the giant chain gun that motorized, like, founding fathers carried. That's one of the enemies, is a giant founding father robot who carries a giant chain gun, and you have to take it out. And so, you know, I find myself going on tangents when I do reviews, like go on blah blah blah, because I was talking about Elizabeth. Elizabeth's great. Everything's great in this game. I'm gonna have to say the enemy variety is pretty good. You have your regular soldiers, you have your guys who just come up and beat you, you have people who can shoot you long range, you have snipers, and the big daddies of this game, if you know about Bioshock, if you're a fan of Bioshock, big daddies are replaced with handymen. Giant old people in, like, robot suits. It sounds weird, but, like, their bodies are so frail they need to be put into giant suits, and their main thing is they just come at you and smash. Smash, pretty much destroying your whole shield right away. It actually destroys your shield and lowers, like, half your health, so you have to use the skyhook to take him out, and sometimes he electrifies the skyhook. It's a tough battle. It definitely does bring variety to the entire combat system, because every time you see one of these guys, you're like, oh my god, how am I going to handle it? Am I going to have to find an RPG to shoot at his vulnerable chest, like Iron Man or something? But yeah, I don't know what else I can really add. This game is perfect. Elizabeth is great. The storyline is great, because I could do spoilers, but I'm not going to. The storyline's great. Graphics are great. Just overall variety is great, and the ending cannot be beat by anything. So I'm going to give it a final score of 10 out of 10. You know, 10 out of 10 seems like it's given a lot, but I really feel this game could be Game of the Year. I think it should win Game of the Year for its game alone. It has the unfortunateness of coming out at the same year as GTA 5, which will probably be a blockbuster game just because it's GTA 5. But this game is a game that may be passed up by some, especially it almost was for me. This is a review coming from someone who didn't play the game much right away, or who didn't want to play the game right away. I thought, oh, this game will be kind of boring. I never loved the first Bioshocks, but no, it's a very good game, and I feel like it's getting passed up by some people. So please go out, buy it right now, or get it whatever you can. You know, just obtain this game, play it all the way through. Don't end halfway. Go to the ending. The ending's great. Thank you guys for watching. It does get a 10 out of 10. It does get a boss seal of approval. Sorry if you think that's copying Angry Joe's badass seal of approval, but I used it a while ago on an old review on an old channel. It's got the boss seal of approval right there. Don't know if there's a seal. There is now. The seal, but whatever. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Please go out and buy Bioshock. A very good game. You'll all enjoy it. And thank you guys for watching. If you have any suggestions or games you want me to review, please leave it down in the comments section below. And see you guys next time.